As we gather for this meeting, I acknowledge the custodianship of the lands and waters on which we meet today. I meet on the Wurundjeri Woi-wurrung people of the Kulin Nation and the many lands and waters across Australia on which our fellows and everyone works, lives and applies science, technology and engineering. I acknowledge the traditional owners and pay respects to their elders. I also acknowledge any Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people who join us today. Next slide, please. This session will be recorded for those that cannot attend and will be uploaded to our YouTube channel. There will be an opportunity at the end to ask questions. However, you can put your questions in the chat throughout the presentation and we will address them at the end. Next slide, please. So who we are, ATSE, Australian Academy of Technological Sciences and Engineering, was founded in 1975 as one of Australia's 4 learned academies at the time. ATSE is an independent non-government organisation and charity led by a diverse fellowship of over 900 of Australia's leading applied scientists, technologists and engineers. We celebrate excellence in science, technology, engineering and mathematics, STEM for short, by appointing prestigious fellows, awarding upcoming innovators and equipping the next generation with skills to build a better Australia and world. We are an evidence-driven voice to decision makers and our world-class STEM career programs are shaping the knowledge makers and innovators we need to tackle our most urgent challenges now and in the future. The next slide, please. The Australian Academy of Technological Sciences and Engineering Awards celebrate excellence and innovation in STEM across various disciplines and career stages. These awards recognise outstanding senior and emerging innovators who have made significant contributions to applied scientists, technologists, engineers and entrepreneurs. The awards span multiple categories, allowing for recognition of achievements from early career professionals to senior leaders. The awards nomination and judging processes are a very detailed and robust process to elect new awardees each year. The next slide, please. I'd like to now introduce you to Professor Lachlan Blackhall, who is the Selection Committee Chair of the David and Valerie Solomon Award.
Thanks, Elvira. Well, welcome along, everybody. It's great to be here today. A real pleasure to be speaking with you about ATSE's awards, which are obviously a really exciting opportunity to be recognised in the areas of strength of the Academy. So I'm going to talk about 3 awards today. But before I do, please just allow me to briefly introduce myself. I am a fellow of the Academy, but my path to fellowship really did come through these awards. And so I was the inaugural recipient of the Batterham Medal, and that really exposed me to the work of the Academy and the opportunity to get more involved. And since winning the Batterham Medal in 2015, I've gone on to be elected as a fellow of the Academy, and I've participated in both the David and Valerie Solomon Award Committee and also the Batterham Medal Committee. So through the discussion today, I'm really hoping we can give you a really good understanding of how to not only just apply for the awards, but how to actually optimise the application for the awards themselves. Could we move on to the next slide, please? So as flagged, I'll be talking about the 3 key early and mid-career awards of the Academy: the David and Valerie Solomon Award, the Ezio Rizzardo Polymer Scholarship, and the Batterham Medal itself. So if we could move to the next slide. So the David and Valerie Solomon Award is it's an early to mid-career award for science or technology graduates working in academia, research or industry, R&D, who demonstrate substantial ability to foster research industry collaboration and knowledge transfer for the benefit of Australia. So the winner will receive a unique award, a cash prize of $15,000 and 12 months mentoring from a senior entrepreneur or industry fellow of the Academy, with $5,000 of travel expenses to enhance the mentoring experience. Could we move on to the next slide, please? So the Ezio Rizzardo Polymer Scholarship acknowledges and celebrates the outstanding achievements and potential impact of a PhD candidate in the field of polymer science or engineering. This award is actually designed to supplement the funding of an existing scholarship holder who's undertaking or about to commence their PhD studies related to polymer science or engineering, with the aim to deliver impact that benefits Australia. So the scholarship will provide $10,000 per year for up to 3 years, plus a $5,000 travel fund to support the recipient's academic pursuits and research goals. So ATSE administers the scholarship, which is funded by the former CRC for polymers. Could we jump ahead to the final slide for the Batterham Medal, please? So last but not least, the Batterham Medal is an award of ATSE made to an early career graduate engineer who's achieved substantial peer and industry recognition for their work in the past 5 years. So engineers in the private, public and academic sectors are all eligible, and the award consists of the Batterham Medal itself and a cash prize of $5,000. Thanks, Elvira. I'll pass back to you to take us through the nomination process.
Thank you, Lachlan. You'll find the awards guidelines and nomination portal on our website. We recommend reading the guidelines before you commence gathering all the information for the nomination. The nomination process is very detailed and can take several hours to gather the required information and documents. No self-nominations are allowed for these awards. You will need to register a profile on the ATSE nominations website and then select which award the nomination is for. Each of the awards have different document requirements, and these are listed in the guidelines. All 3 awards require the following: a proposer and nominee details and contact information, the nominee's current role, and an executive overview with a maximum of 100 words. Some of the awards will require a referee report to be completed, seconder details and a letter from the seconder, and some will require the nominee's CV. The next slide, please. For the selection process, all the award committee members will individually examine, score and comment on all the nominations received. The committee will then meet via Zoom to discuss the nominees and decide on the winner or winners. The names and citations of each awardee is provided to the ATSE board for approval. Then we will contact the awardees and prepare for the ATSE Awards Gala Dinner to be held in Adelaide this year on the 30th of October. The next slide, please. On the screen, you will see the key dates for the awards. The nominations will close COB Tuesday, the 13th of May. The next slide, please. I would now like to introduce you to our previous awardees. So firstly, our 2015 Batterham Medal awardee, Professor Lachlan Blackwell.
Right. Thanks, Elvira. So I'm back again. Obviously, look, I'm keen to talk a little bit about sort of the application process, and the consequence of actually being awarded the Batterham Medal. But I think as a committee member of a couple of committees, I think it's also useful for me to give some guidance in terms of how nominations can actually be prepared. So, from my perspective, in terms of being the recipient of the Batterham Medal in 2015, it really was quite life-changing. And I think, the reason for that is that we all spend our time, particularly in the research community, sort of buried away, doing new things, trying to add to the body of knowledge. But it's actually the chance to have, significant impact often comes when there's recognition of the work that's being done and an opportunity to do that work on a much larger scale. And that was really, the experience from my perspective. It was in being awarded the Batterham Medal, it gave me the opportunity to actually then interact with the Academy and with the fellowship of the Academy to find new pathways for the work I was doing to actually have impact across diverse areas, and also to have a pool of mentors who were, really willing and able to actually support my development, as an engineer and as a scientist, and actually put me, into the path of opportunity. So really, an incredible opportunity from my perspective. Just in terms of the nomination processes themselves, and I'm saying this now, not so much as a former recipient, but actually as a committee member of these committees, it's really important that the evidence that you provide the evidence, that you substantiate the claims that are made in the application. The number one challenge from a committee member perspective is that the people who are coming through are, people who have, significant achievements and, claim very significant impact. And what we really need as community members is to be able to see a clear articulation of not just the impact, but the demonstration of how the person being nominated for the award actually contributed to that impact. And so it's really critical that there's sort of a granular description of the involvement that individuals have had in the impact that is then described. And I think number one challenge is often where we see people being just, they're associated with impact, but it's not clear particularly how they've had the impact that is actually described in the application itself. So if I can ask for anything from nominees and from your nominators and your supporters, is actually to be really granular and particular around the role that the nominee has played in actually achieving the impact that's described. And so you've got multiple ways in which that can happen through the nomination itself, through supporting letters, through referees, if it's appropriate to have those in the application, but really getting down into the details of what did the applicant do or the nominee do, and how has their specific involvement actually resulted in the achievement or the impact that's being claimed. Now, this is particularly important for the criteria that all three awards have that talks to, a specific, type of impact. So in the David and Valerie Solomon sense, it's about creating that connection with industry, and through that connection, then having impact for Australia. It's not just, it's not just enough to talk about there being a relationship with industry, but you need to describe again and provide evidence for how that relationship has actually resulted in an outcome, and then how that outcome has resulted in impact. So if I can, if I can really strongly suggest that you just make sure that those, criteria are well addressed. That's number one. Number two, I think it's really important that your nominator actually knows you well. It's very clear when a nominator doesn't really know the applicant well, and the best applications always have a really strong relationship between the nominee and the nominator. And it's important that you have that, because ultimately the nominator has to be able to write about you. And the same is true where there's a secondary requirement or where there's referee reports. It's really important that they get into precise detail. In the same way, it's good to have diversity in the topics that are covered in the nomination, and then in any referee and supporting evidence that's attached. So ensure that you actually have a diversity of people involved in the nomination itself, and that they don't just write the same thing. It's really important that you actually cover the many dimensions of the nominee across the application. So I might stop there, Elvira, and I'll pass back to you.
Thank you, Lachlan. I would now like to introduce you to our 2024 David and Valerie Solomon Awardee, Professor Sarah Cooperthwaite.
Thank you. So a little bit of background about myself first. I'm an industrial chemist working at Queensland University of Technology in Brisbane, and I've actively built a career on working on projects that deliver real-world impact with industry partners. And this passion came from my initial graduate position with a mining company, and that was focused on understanding the waste that they had and being able to create methods to minimize its environmental impact. So for the last 15 years, I've worked on developing processing technologies that focus on sustainability in waste minimization and value-adding resources within that sector, whether that be the wastewater, the mine tailings, or even ores that were just considered low value using current technologies. My recent success has really been with my industry partner, Lava Blue, since 2018, where we have developed a novel mineral processing technology using alternative acids to recover critical minerals and then making energy materials, or materials used in energy technologies. And this partnership has grown and generated lots of impact in a number of different ways. So we have 4 patents. We've built a demonstration plant based on those laboratory trials done here at QUT. We have 3 IP licensees with other commercial producers in the industry. And what we're really doing together is we're building a pipeline of talent to work in this new industry through internships, higher degree research students, research fellows, and those that just want to work in that new industry as well. So winning the David and Valerie Solomon Award in 2024 recognised my continued contributions in fostering industry research collaborations that really were leaned towards driving real-world impacts. My Vice-Chancellor, Margaret Shield, AO, was the person who nominated me, which was a great honour, and it made my contributions towards commercial research feel valued, not something that has always been the case in academia. And it hasn't been an easy career pathway, as a lot of the academics' performance indicators don't align with your industry partners' ambitions or commercial objectives. For instance, publishing. It's generally butting heads. But being nominated and winning the award made some of the career sacrifices that I made along the way worthwhile and rewarding. The other thing that I really valued from this whole process was reading the referee reports. So I had the Queensland Chief Scientist, Kerry Wilson, who I'd known in my, she used to work at QUT, so she knew me quite well and what I did. And also Lava Blue's chairman, Sylvia Tulloch. And what both of those reports really did was cement in my mind the value of my research and those collaborations that I had made over the years. And it really did validate that I was on the right path. It is also a great feeling to know that commercial research is becoming more valued and that real world impact is becoming more front and center as a performance metric within the university sector. The value in collaborating with a commercial partner is that you get to see your fundamental research grow into something that impacts the lives of so many. I've always found discovery is only the first stepping stone in innovation, and to truly see your discoveries grow and be used in the world generally requires that partner who understands the market and has the capacity to drive translation. And that's really why I want to work with industry. So we need more of these industry research collaborations highlighted through awards such as the David and Valerie Solomon Award to foster and grow commercial research partnerships, to drive innovation and make Australia a global leader in delivering new technologies. The nomination process was relatively simple. The hardest part was distilling what I had achieved into simple but powerful language. And as Lachlan had said, making sure all the details were there. And also finding the right referees to advocate for me. There were so many people I could have asked, but in the end, I thought the best approach was to find someone who knew me well, but was not directly involved in what I do to remove any biases. Someone who has standing within the profession and is well known and whose opinion would resonate with the selection panel. Winning the David and Valerie Solomon Award has enabled me to have more influence within the university on topics of commercial research. And I've been invited to give talks to early career academics and PhD students on how to build similar career paths. It also validates that you can be recognised and rewarded for taking on non-traditional academic career pathways, which I'm hoping inspires others to do also. The David and Valerie Solomon Award also came with a mentor by an ATSE fellow, and I am fortunate to be mentored by Rochelle Doyle, who was Manager of Strategic Programs for Rio Tinto. And through this mentorship, what we're discussing is how to develop strategic decisions that would be endorsed by a board of directors and navigating influence in these corporate environments, something I'd never have access to before. And I'll actually be flying to Perth next month using the travel money provided from the award to meet Rochelle for the first time after we've had a few virtual meetings. I'm so excited to have her support and her perspectives now and into the future. And again, this would not have happened without this award. With respect to the prize money, I am treating myself to a long-deserved holiday in Hawaii in June this year, and I've made some much-needed renovations to my home. So a very big thank you to the ATSE Organising Committee, Selection Committee, for bestowing the David and Valerie Solomon Award in 2024 to me. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. Now I'd like to hand over to our 2024 Ezio Rizzardo Polymer Scholarship awardee, Brendan Hung.
Thanks, Elvira. So my name is Brendan Hung. I'm now a second-year PhD candidate at Monash University, and I was awarded the Ezio Rizzardo Polymer Scholarship in 2024. So my PhD project is really twofold. There's the polymers and the engineering component, and there's also the biological component. So I'm creating a light-activated hydrogel out of biological components, and now I've had a bit of success with that. And I'm using that as a platform to then study really aggressive forms of colorectal cancer. So those that metastasize to other organs and those that are really resistant to chemotherapy as well. I think I would encourage anyone who's doing a PhD in polymers to apply, because this award really shines light on the diversity of polymers research in Australia. And just reflecting on the previous awardees from previous years, there's an incredible breadth of polymers research across many different fields of application. And in doing the nomination process, it's also a great opportunity to realise the implications and potential impact of your project as well. As I was applying, it was a lovely snapshot in time of my achievements to date, and also a great point to reflect on where I was to date with my PhD as well. And it was a great opportunity to really communicate my research in plain language with a big focus on what that impact of the project would be. So it was a really incredible honour to be awarded the scholarship, and I was very fortunate to have my PhD project showcased by ATSE and also the mainstream media outlets too. And I know for many PhD students, they don't have the opportunity to share their projects with the wider public, so this was a really unique opportunity. For me, the highlight was definitely the ATSE Gala Awards dinner. Just being surrounded by so many people who are changing the face of science and technology and engineering across Australia was just so inspiring as someone very early in their career. And throughout the night, as people heard a little bit about my project, several people approached me and mentioned their personal connections with colorectal cancer. And for me, it made all of my work mean so much more as well. So it was a great reminder that my PhD project isn't isolated and it's much bigger than me, so to speak, and that there's the potential to positively impact so many people. And on top of that, the PhD can be tough at times, so it really gave me a strong source of motivation to keep pushing through all of those peaks and troughs. As I said, being really early on in the PhD, applying for this award really forced me to have a very clear idea of my project right from the outset, but it also reminded me to take that step back and look at the bigger picture and make a decision as to what sort of impact I really wanted to have with this project. So whilst it's early days, I'm still excited to see where my project will take me in the next few years and beyond the PhD as well. The scholarship itself has definitely supported me financially as a PhD student and taken off a bit of that financial pressure. And whilst I haven't used the travel fund yet, I'm very excited about this, and I do have my eye on some key international biomaterials conferences that would be a wonderful opportunity to showcase the research that we do in Australia, but on a world stage. So overall, I'm really grateful to have been awarded the Ezio Rizzardo Polymer Scholarship by ATSE, and I highly encourage anyone who's doing a polymers-based PhD project to apply. And I think we're all very eager to see what the future of polymers research in Australia will look like and how it's going to be shaped by up-and-coming researchers.
Thank you, Brendan. Thank you all for your attention. And we will now open up the Q&A session. The chair and the previous awardees are happy to answer any questions. please use the electronic raise hand button on the bottom of your screen in the reactions tab, or happy for you to type in your questions in the chat. Doesn't look like we have any questions, but if you have any further questions during the nomination process, please send us an email at membership@atse.org.au. Also, just as a reminder, the guidelines are on our website and in the nominations portal also. Thank you again all for joining us today, and enjoy the rest of your day then. Thank you.
Thanks all.
Thank you.